Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talking is a Free Action. You are joining us here for an evening of Dungeons and Dragons. Once the Question Lord Triumphant, now reduced down to this, the Poppet, a man in a ceremonial robe, not a dressing gown, with a puppet for a wife and for a left hand. We've done this enough times. So this charming entity right here is a being known as Rion. Again, I didn't think I was going to do it in a French accent. I did. Rion first of all, just check in. How are you doing? You good?
No, not really. I've had a bit of a day, if I'm honest.
Yes, no. So you sort of trying to solve missing people, and then all of a sudden, music and nightmares and all. Yes. Let me explain. So there's you, and then there's a higher entity which is known as G. And Rion, if it all gets a little bit difficult, simply cry out, "Talking is a free action," and I will have a word with G and get you out. But the thing you need to understand is that there's also lots of people watching you, who've watched this and haven't got involved, completely passive viewers. Again, you've had a very odd day, so this probably isn't as shocking to you as it might be for some others, but...
it's very confusing, but...
Good. I've absolutely no idea what's going on at the best of time, but I put on a smile and a bold face, and we hope for the best. So as I said, you cry out, "Talk is a free action," and you get out of a bear trap or something. But before we begin, Rion, just quickly looking over here, I would like to say a massive thank you to our sponsors and supporters, sponsored by Hero Forge, Ultra Pro, Phoenix Dice and Alchemy RPG, and we are supported by Idle Champions, Neverwinter and Elderwood Academy. We just want to say a big thank you to the D20 Club. I can't do the heart thing. I've only got one hand, but without you, we couldn't do anything. You give us one of your local currency, be it gold, dollars, or goats, and we make the wonderful things that we make for you. We are Roll Together RPG on all the social medias. Look for us. If you simply put those into a search bar, you'll eventually find us. Anyway, as we speed through that, Rion, you're going to be here for about an hour. If you reach into one of your pockets, you might find a pair of dice. Do you want to have a look for that, old friend?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think I've got them here.
Right. Shall we begin by you, as they say on the material plane and indeed the real world, roll that dice.
That is a 9.
A 9, you say, as I open up a shut form. I was like, useful, very useful. Anyway, Rion, you're in a white void, sort of floating there. Again, as I said, considering you've just been through like a bunch of dreams, this probably isn't that big of a change. But slowly things start forming. Ahead of you is a large wooden door in a big stone arch. Above it, carved runes in a language you do not speak. Slowly but surely, the door begins to swing open. Through the door, you can see a stone corridor. It's lit maybe every 15 feet by torches in sconces. The torches burn with blue light. You can sort of see... do you have dark vision?
Maybe?
It's always the thing in this game where you're like,
No, I don't think I do.
Fair enough. You sort of vaguely see there's something at the end of the corridor. Would you like to enter the labyrinth of lore?
Yes. Yeah.
You begin walking. You begin walking along the corridor. As eventually you get to a straight corridor, you get to another wooden door with a brass ring handle. Would you like to pull it open?
I will.
You walk into the room. In front of you is a table. And on that table are 3... oh, we always love these puzzles. There are 3 clay jugs.
Okay.
Standing to the side, there are two people. Remind me, what's the name of the friend that you were searching for? We're both putting each other on the spot here, where you're like, "Hey, Rion, you know your best friend? There's two of them standing there, and they're just like,
okay,
it's been, we're so thirsty, but you need to be able to share the water that's in that jug equally between us, because otherwise we're going to die of thirst." The Poppet just sort of is floating next to you. It's like, just go with it. We're working on trying to get the puppets to do. Anyway, as I said, there are the 3 jugs. You have an 8-liter jug of water, 2 smaller jugs, one which is 5 liters, one that is free. Mm-hmm. None of them have the markings on. Basically, you need to be able to split it into 4 and 4.
Yeah. Okay. Now. I've had to do, like me personally, in real life, I've had to do this puzzle before, and I didn't work out eventually what the answer is. But I can't be bothered spending all the time
that's fair. Yeah.
And being as it's not technically me doing it, I guess then I will roll some sort of. Can I roll some sort of check to see if Rion can work out?
Absolutely. What would you like to roll?
I mean, I feel like it's an intelligence.
It's an intelligence. It could also be history, that you'd be like, hey, the time in the orphanage where we just had a riddle evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if I've got anything else that might work. Yeah, okay. History check. I'll go with that. It's
beautiful.
My best option. That's a 4. So that is going to go well.
You have a moment where you're just sort of like going, right, yeah, no, obviously I remember this. And I feel, gee, it's like me and you, if we were doing it, we'd be like, yeah, we're smart. And then halfway through, we're like, oh, I have absolutely no idea what, just sort of like, again, being in an escape room, and it's a bit like, again, an escape room where...
kind of going like, oh, yeah, no, I remember how to do this, and get to a point and then go, oh, wait, hang on. No, there was a bit I forgot. Damn. Yeah. And so I guess Rio's just stood at this table now with some water in some jugs, sort of lost track, going, no, right. If I put it all back into stat again.
Shit. I'll tell you what, I'll let you roll an intelligence check now, because you've gone from that sort of like, hey, I know what I'm doing, I've done this before, into like, no, I actually have to think about this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Straight intelligence. That's a 14.
Okay. You know what? I think I'm going to let that sort of go. Like, if you watch the footage as it speeds up and you spend a lot of time, and eventually, I think that's the thing, that as you look over, your 2 friends are sort of like leaning on the table, and they're sort of like straight up and like, thank you, Rion. You've given us enough water to stop us from dying. 4 liters is exactly the amount that we needed to stop our death. That's
quite an unusual situation, to be fair.
They both sort of give you a look like, yeah, we know. And the Poppet's like, look, I don't create these. I just facilitate. Anyway. I just have to say, gee, I just love that more people should just, rather than just go, yeah, no, I'm sure my character would know this. Just like going, yeah, no. I have to say that's one of the good things, bad things about Roll Together. We don't do enough like, oh, cool, I'm stuck in this room for the next hour as I try and work out is it lighter than a pound of lead? Okay, great. So in an amount of time, which some would, like I said, if this was an escape room, you'd be like, if I'd got this like 5 minutes earlier, I'd be happier. But the water is drunk. Your friends just slowly evaporate. All right, okay. Yes, maybe we need to think about that one. That does seem to throw people. Same with the fox and the goose and the boat. Anyway, Rion, if you want to roll again, we'll try and see if we can find you a new new exciting room.
That's a 53.
53. Amazing. Oh. This is you again, you enter into down a new corridor. The door ahead of you now is covered in ivy and vines, sort of like it's a wooden arch. Again, it's that sort of weird thing with like as you reach out, you go, oh, that's an illusionary door. But you step out, you are in a very plush theatre space, large red curtains, chairs, about 5 chairs to the side, a large throne to the right, upon which is sitting a very large bear. And to them, on a much smaller chair, there is a man with large antlers, who's like, right, okay, marvelous. Welcome to the Fey Wild Tasks. Now, the first, it's sort of like your gestures, you sit down, there are various, it's quite weird. Everyone else is like an animal. That's like an otter, and so you're sitting there on this chair much bigger than everyone else. They go, right, so let me check my tablet. Yes, the first round is simply gestures to the bear, a gift for the Winter King. And now the thing is, we've put a rule on this, and it is, do you have actually, I'll tell you what, pick a number between 1 and 4.
2.
2. Now, the Winter King would like a gift which reminds him of the sky. And it's sort of leans at the otter next to you is like, right, so the way this works is you simply say what you want, and then the Fey magic will summon it. So we will begin with gestures to an antelope who's like, a piece of blue cloth, because it's the color of the sky. And the bear just goes, and they're like, oh no. He's like, oh, well, I think that's 1 point. And then gestures to you, new person, stranger. What gift would you like to give the Winter King that will remind him of the sky?
I would give him a feather.
Ooh, because of birds, or?
Because birds fly in the sky and the feather floats like a cloud sometimes.
I like that you're getting into the Fey Wild nonsense of this. You're like, what type of bird feather would you like to offer, or just a general sort of pigeon feather, or?
No, I think something from beautiful, maybe tropical birds, something very colourful.
As you say this, as you watch as a feather slow, and the Winter King's like, yeah, ooh, he does seem to like it. I tell you what, roll with advantage of persuasion check.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm all right at persuasion, actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty decent. Good. Oh, nice. That's a 23.
The bear gets up and does a little stomping. As it turns out, the Winter King loves feathers. They're soft and they're tickly and looks over much better than just blue cloth. Oh. For this, you get given, reaches down and you like, do you put your hand out as you're being offered something?
Yeah.
You just, it's a honeycomb. It's sticky, and of course, as a bear just plops like a big thing of honey down in your hand, you just got like a thing of honey.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Round of applause. Right, we'll go get you ready in makeup. Okay, so the next challenge, who can fit the most marbles into a bathtub? As you're slowly being led off stage. as the puppet's like,
It's turned into like the generation game. Or Taskmaster.
It's technically, legally, we can't call it the Feywild Taskmaster, but yeah. Yes, exactly.
Master of Tasks.
Master of Tasks. Now with Bear. Yeah, you're led to it. The Poppets are like, okay, would you like to take that honey with you, or we could store it for you for later? Or
I'm just gonna hang on. What have I got in my inventory? I have a cowl that I wear in being a changeling. I wear it when I'm taking on certain personas. Not this one. So I take the cowl out of my bag and I like wrap the honeycomb in it. I was like, I'll save that for later.
Well, the thing you need to understand is that you obviously you can't take things from here back into the the material plane. But we'll try and make sure. Well, sort of like well, we're not supposed to let you take things. And I don't know, people who like control the weave of fate get a bit grumpy, but I mean,
I can try and I'll see what happens, right?
Exactly. I was like, if it's in your bag, then who's going to say that when you get out of your nightmare situation and you get some Feywild honey, Although I would point out, you know the risks about eating Fey food, right?
No. It's
very addictive. It's the sort of thing that they,
once
you start eating it, you're always going to want that, and then you're going to. It's how the Fae keep people in the Fae world, because they're addicted to the food. But
well, maybe I'll give it to somebody else then.
Well, that's the trick. That if you're giving it to someone, and then you're just like, slightly looks sketchy. If you just want to give them an addiction.
Look, Rion grew up in the streets of Neverwinter. Yeah. Is that? Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Like homeless street urchin, morally grey.
Yeah. To be fair, there are worse things than like, ooh, Feywild honey. That's fair. It's just again, you started being led down another corridor. Please roll that dice.
Oh yeah. 12.
12. 12. Rion, again, you led to it should be a door. It's just been like torn off its hinges. The Poppet's like, oh, biscuits. Looks down his hand puppet. It's like, do you know? No. Okay. I mean, I don't want to lead your hand, but I like you. This is going to be bad. So
doesn't look great.
No. Do you want to have a look and then?
Yeah, I was going to say, can I have a perception check through the door? See what I can see.
Absolutely, yeah.
Perception is not great, and that I roll 7.
7. You're looking out at a city. Have you ever left Neverwinter?
No.
No.
Technically, yes, actually. Yeah. Started off in an orphanage just outside Neverwinter.
Okay.
But other than that, no.
No. Sort of like you're looking out. Again, it's a city not unlike Neverwinter. Large sort of buildings, statues which seem to have been destroyed, fallen in fire. Surprisingly quiet, which again you are a survivor of living under. That's not great.
Oh, yeah.
That's not good. Yeah. Do you want to try the door?
Yeah, I think so.
You walk through. As said, it's. I mean, people use decimated very liberally now, but this is again, this is these buildings are wrecked, torn apart. Just again, as I said, the quiet. You begin walking, and it's kind of weird that you didn't notice this at first, because it is doing so much damage as it just tears in a really huge lizard-like creature hundreds of feet tall, is just ripping into the city. You watch as a woman holding a large staff slams it down, casts a spell. The spell hits the thing, this sort of fiery ball, and just bounces off and hits it and just eviscerates the woman. You're just like, there's no. Go on.
I would turn to you.
Yeah.
What did you say was the thing about talking as a free action?
Oh, absolutely! Whoosh. Hello, G.
Hello.
I thought I was like, yeah, this is where this is going. So the Trask is in Waterdeep. That's always lovely to see.
Yeah. What's that thing?
That's the Trask.
Ah, right. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Shit. Yeah. Well, I just saw it.
Rion is very capable of taking care of themselves. Yeah. Likes a puzzle, likes to investigate things, but like that sort of level of city infrastructure destruction is not their problem.
That's what I said, where I was like, You see, again, Rion is very sort of like going, yep, that's not a me problem, as you say.
Marvel is never. What am I saying? Rion is never going to be the Avengers member of the Roll Together universe. Yeah. Whoever that Avengers team are in Roll Together, Rion's not interested.
I get to roll here. So I have got a 27. If you suddenly had to give a 20-minute presentation on something that wasn't related to D&D or your job, what would you pick?
Probably movies, cinema.
Yeah.
Or maybe music. I've throughout all of my life, I've been a big music geek and movies geek, and studied both of them academically for a bit. Those are the subjects where I reckon I could just talk for quite a long time and remember bits of theories which I could sort of vaguely recap and then pretend like I really sounded like I know what I'm talking about.
You mentioned someone and someone's like, and you're like, yes, obviously that person knows, so I don't need to go more in depth.
Yeah.
Any sort of for example, if I said, I would like a 20-minute presentation on a movie, what would you think would be what's one movie you think you could talk about for hours?
Probably Fight Club I could talk about for a good time.
Nice. Yeah.
I remember doing an essay in which Fight Club was one of the example studies I did for out of five movies to illustrate this. I can't even remember what the topic of the essay was. But yeah, I think that it's a movie that's got a lot going on and lots of sort of interesting layers and things. So,
as you say, it's the sort of thing that you want to pay attention, especially when it comes to the Tyler flashing, where you're like, there's enough to kind of.
But it's one of those movies as well that really benefits from watching a second time. Once you do know the ending and you can see all of these things that point there and kind of foreshadow it, that even if you notice those things happening without the knowledge of where it goes, then they don't mean as much to you, I think.
Yeah. So which is always nice for a film where you're like, I can rewatch this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then just occasionally there's some men punching each other. That's
also fun too.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what it is? It's rare that I go back and watch a Marvel movie and I'm like, there's loads of really clever narrative tricks in here that I totally didn't appreciate before. Yeah. And tends to not.
Yeah. I have to admit that after Endgame, I just sort of went, I think I'm done. And that's the sort of thing they're like, oh no, we've got this and we've got a Black Widow movie, we've got this. And I'm like,
you know what? Now for me, it's like a TV show that releases 4 episodes once 4 times a year. Yeah. And I don't know. So I keep up with it, but Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's sort of like going, maybe one day, but, you know, sort of like just, sort of like the completionist side of me where I'm like, yeah, I'll go watch Shang-Chi, you know, just, but it is that's a wild thing where they're like, that, again, where I was like, I feel that's a nice ending, and I'm like, we couldn't possibly end. TV, we've got enough to, you've all watched Loki season 2, right? You're like, no. I'm like, but this guy's in it.
Okay.
Yeah. Good for you. But I think it's the funny thing, like it used to be like for us over here where you're like, oh yeah, that actor, they were in the bill. That was the sort of thing. And now, or it's sort of like, yeah, where you're just like, you'll just turn up in a Marvel movie one day. I mean,
like, there's definitely actors that I kind of see popping up and stuff every so often, and I kind of go, how have they not ended up as a Marvel character yet?
Yeah. I saw an interview with Lawrence Fishburne where they were like, oh, be in Marvel. And he's like, yeah, one day I'd like to be in Marvel. That would be quite fun. And they went, you were in Marvel? And he was like, what? And they were like, you were in the Ant-Man movie. He was like, oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey, love Lawrence Fishburne. I'm sure just the amount of effort just being like, oh, yeah, I did do that.
I did do that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Does that mean I can't be one of the heroes now? Ah, shit.
There's a multiverse. You come back as Goliath or something. Yeah. I think that's nice. Actually, so build off that music. What sort of, or would you again? Would you think you'd be talking about the theory, or would you be going, here's an interesting band that?
I'd probably pick. I'm trying to think of. I'd maybe like talk about a genre or something. Like, so I've sort of, my music knowledge is quite wide ranging, as opposed, rather than being sort of all about like a specific genre. There's a few genres like probably maybe grunge or punk that I could talk about for like 20 minutes, without any sort of research or planning. But yeah, like a lot of, when it comes to my music listening, there's not a genre that I just kind of, not these days anyway. When I was a teenager, I was very much like an indie kid. That was what I listened to, and you know, all your boy girl band pop music can fuck off. These days I will listen to any genre and any sort of type of artist, but and some of it will be good and some of it will be bad. That's how music works.
I think especially like with grunge and punk, you know, because there's so much, I was about to say backstory, but you know, where you're like, right, let's explain that this was happening, they were here, this is what was recorded. Okay, these two people hated each other, which is no, I think that's look, if like they were sort of movements that sort of captured my interest as well, because I'm very interested in politics, and they were very political in sort of what they were trying to do and trying to get away from a lot of ways. Whereas a lot of other music doesn't give a shit about politics. Sort of actually connecting to what we were just talking about, that Marvel stopped making the items for punk Spider-Man for Holby because the punks are stealing it from shops because that's what you do, and then people are like, no, it's like a polite revolution, and you're like, no. I do absolutely love when corporations kind of try to co-opt the punk kind of ethos and aesthetic, and then are surprised and upset when people act in very punk-inspired ways about that. Like, I enjoy it immensely. And it just keeps happening. Every time they're like, what? Amazing. I think that's been a nice covering of that. I think you entertained me enough that I'm not going to let you get eaten by a Taras.
Oh, cool.
I mean, Ron, if you want to give it a go, we're back in. Yes. Sorry, you blacked out there for a moment. I tell you what. Do you want to get out of here rather than let that?
Yeah, I really would.
Yeah. Just you get sort of like the mutual sort of like nod where you get people who are completely sympathetic. You're like, yeah, no, this is bad news. It's sort of, you sort of like slightly gestured back into the doorway that hasn't quite closed behind you, and the door closes, and you just sort of hear like the sliding of rooms. Right. Yeah. Don't worry, Waterloo will be fine. I'll tell you what. Roll the dice again, and let's try and get you one that isn't going to instantly consume you.
5.
Ooh.
Rolling a lot of very low things with my one.
Oh, interesting. The room again. Now an actual door, like forced the archway gone. It is sort of again wooden door, quite rustic, a bit rotting. Sort of looks like an old sort of almost like a hut kind of door. You open it. You are in a very small hut, sort of kitchen. There is a large cauldron bobbling, walls covered in bottles, old books. There's a slight sort of stink of swamp, which could be coming outside or could be coming from the person who's there. Green skin, hunched, a hag who basically like, hello there. Yes, I understand that your little friend drank some mysterious water earlier and has been hideously poisoned. So you've come all this way to talk to old Nana Bones. I can give you an antidote for your friend's poison, but you simply must give me a little gift. Now, what for your friend, the friend whose name that you can't seem? What's your most precious thing, my little friend?
My most precious thing. Well, I'm an orphan. I grew up on the street, so I don't really have any like jewelry or anything valuable. But when I was little, really little, the most precious thing we ever had was something to eat. So I have this honey here. It's the only thing I have really that's precious anyway. But if I can give it to you and save my friend, then it's yours.
Delicious honey. To take food out of your pocket is a cruel act, but let's never say that I'm ungrateful. You hand the cow and folks, as a DM, you're just like, yes. As
a player, when you're like, yes, I have this thing that's fucking perfect.
Oh, perfect setup. Old Nana Bones just delicious. I should make honey cakes. Would you like a bite before you go? Oh, horrible nod, handing you some honey.
I'm all right, thank you, Andy.
Right. As you notice, as the hag is sort of like ladling things into, keeps going, keeps like dipping a horrible finger into the honey. You're handed a potion bottle with like small animal bones around it. That should cure the poison. You're actually very amenable. I do like it when we have a nice, simple trade.
Thank you very much. Now, do you enjoy that honey?
I will, young fellow, young friend. It's getting more intense now. As you simply turn around and with perfect logic, Poppet's like, I think that's the best that anyone's ever managed that. Yes, there's a reason I knew I liked you. Right, perfect.
Okay, I had that honey on me. But...
Yeah, no, sort of like it's almost like Deus Ex Machina, but just hey, we work with what we're given, and sometimes the perfect item falls in our lap. Well done, Rion. You're speeding through these today. This is very impressive. I've had a few people who got stuck on room 2 and just got very. But please roll the dice again. We're making time.
86.
86. Okay, so again, you've walked out of the hut into the sort of back into the corridor. The corridor slightly goes straight right. You're sort of curving round and round. Another room. So you push open the door. It's a very sort of bland, again, stone walls, maybe sort of 15 by 15 feet. In the middle of the room, there is a creature. It's not medium sized, but sort of it's about the size of a wolf maybe. And actually, sort of, if you ever seen a wolf, it's not 100 miles away from that. The Poppet just sort of looks at it and goes, "Oh God, this thing again." The creature sort of sits up, ears perk, little tail starts waggling, and it runs over to you, and then it's like, ah, ah. It's like, go. I thought we got rid of you. Rion, just find out what this thing wants. It keeps turning up. The creature sort of nuzzles against you.
I give it a scratch in the head. And I don't know.
I think that's fair.
What spells can I do? I forgot about spells. Fucking useful. Okay. What else? Raging won't help.
Just yeet this creature.
Can I roll like a nature check or
yeah,
survival maybe?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go with nature.
Nature, I think that makes.
That's a 14.
This creature does seem domesticated.
Mm-hmm.
It is very excited to see you. Its tail is waggling away. Its tongue is lolling. It's black and white, splotchy, big, sort of like pointy ears, wet nose. Mm-hmm. Folks, this came about because in a game Sam said there are no dogs in the Roll Together, despite the number of dogs that we have seen. And indeed, for those of you who watched this before, Pinecone, the border collie, has returned and is very excited to make a new friend. I'm just again, sort of like as you look around the room, there are various. There's piles of food because the Poppet's obviously again just thrown things in. Like there's like fresh vegetables, there's meat, there's like grilled salmon. Like maybe it's just. But there are various also like there's bits of rope, bones, balls. There's sort of thing where I'd say with a 14, where you were like, this thing isn't violent. Mm-hmm. This thing isn't like trying to, I don't know, put a tentacle in my brain or anything.
Yeah.
I think, again, as you said, like living on the streets of Neverwinter, where you've met,
like, I've come across dogs.
I think ultimately, for the hilarity, that you know that this is a dog. Just you don't understand why this guy is like, what is this thing? So yeah,
I'll go over. I'll grab like a bit of rope or something, do a bit of war, stick, get it. Yeah. You dog a bit. What did you say it was called?
A pine cone.
Pine cone. I mean, Rion doesn't know that. But.
Yeah, no. Just...
Does pine cone? How well kept is pine cone? Do they have a collar?
Pine cone. That's the strange thing. That pine cone looks like he's been living in the woods, but doesn't look. It looks like he's been cared for in the woods. That there's
Okay, so like scruffy and maybe not a collar, but like well fed.
Yes, yeah, sort of. Yes, it's a sort of because sort of like for the last time we had Pinecone got given to some dryads. So it's the sort of thing where, like, again, where we were all like, oh, it's a type of wolf, and then they were like, yeah, cool. So this was Lola's character. who sent them back to their family to go, I'm okay, because this creature's turned up and has inadvertently saved like the dryads from going, they killed my child. Yes, so there's just a very excitable dog who just, so you play, and the Poppet's just over there going, so does it want to, like, I don't know, put tadpoles in brains or
No, it mostly just wants to like play around with sticks and balls. And do you know what a frisbee is?
I don't. What's a frisbee?
Oh, it's just like a disc thing that you throw and spin in the air, and it goes quite far.
Sort of.
The dogs like to like chase them and things.
Sort of like slowly sort of wiggles his hands, like a discus slowly like goes down and like pushes, and like the wall just keeps like. Do you want to demonstrate or?
So yeah.
Give
a demonstration.
I think just roll an attack roll, like a ranged attack, just to see how far you throw it.
Oh, I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah.
That's an 18.
You throw. And it's the wonderful thing that as you do, said it was 15, the wall's been moved back and just keeps moving back and back and back as Pinecone just keeps, and you know, again, 18, you throw it like a fair distance and then Pinecone leaps, catches it in his mouth, lands, and then comes running back and is like, it drops it. Actually, that's the thing, drops it at your feet and you see this sort of like, yeah, I did it. I'm so fast.
It's like that, but you just
and these creatures like that. They like catching things in their mouth.
Yeah. Well, some of them
sort of telekinetically like lifts this sort of leathery ball and like the ball catch. Right. Okay. Good.
They like being scratched on the head as well.
As you mentioned, like even like a hesitant being, but Pinecone just goes, just wow.
Like how long has Pinecone been here now? How starved of attention is he?
I think Pinecone would be like this even if you like walked out of a room. You know, that dog thing of like, you've been gone for so long, but I love you so much.
Yeah.
He's a very sweet boy. And actually sort of like by that, like, okay, likes catching frisbees, likes scritches. This is all good information. This is all information we can use. Well then, how we doing for time? I think we've got time for a couple more. You're doing an excellent job, Rion. Roll that dice, please.
Number 9.
Number 9. I'm going to look at what it is. Just we can do the. We cut you again in the room with the jugs, and we're just like.
As soon as you walk in, oh come on! I did this one already.
You just skip it.
Oh wait, no, that's where I've got the antidote now.
Oh, Rion was so tough. He just had. You're like. You've saved us. We're not going to die. And they're like, hooray! And then as you look down, as Pinecone's just, and I was like, no, how did you get out? Pinecone just sort of like tries to climb. No, don't get on the table. Get.
Drinking the water out of the jugs.
Yeah, just. Oh, you're gonna get poisoned. He looks up with the massive brown eyes. He's like. He's like, oh, reaches over like cure poison, and of course like puts on the head, and then Pincone's like, yeah, I'm being stroked again. Like, oh. How can
knocks a jug over a wall all over the floor.
And again like rolling around and like it's this. I have to say that a bit of facts here for you folks. Pinecone is the sort of dog who loves swimming in a river, but then gets very upset when it's raining, and just like no, no. As we watch as Pinecone just a dog who doesn't quite realize his own size and like knocks over the jugs. Please do roll the dice again, G.
2.
Ooh, right at the this. The puppet's like, hold on, you don't even change rooms. Just like things slowly. And all right, let's see what we got. Other side of the room, a ornate golden clock, like just slowly appears on the wall. Slowly. And next to it is a little note on a panel, like brass panel, that if you go over and look at it, it says, "My long and short hands sneak many momentary brushes twixt midnight and mid-noon. But how many?" The prophet's like, "Oh, it's a logic puzzle. Right, okay, off you go."
Say it again?
So, clock, midnight. My long and short hands sneak many momentary brushes twixt midnight and mid-noon, but how many? Again, you can roll intelligence, and I'm not going to give it to you, but it's
So I personally, I'm not sure. Is it asking how many times do the hands sweep over each other? Right.
Yes.
Again.
Please. I'll tell you what.
My intelligence is not the one being tested.
No, it's not. And I think also, again, you feel free to roll history again, because we've established that you're like, yeah, you just have a lot of time of like going, people. I think it's wonderful that people just come up to you and go, "Hey, I've got a riddle for you." And you're like, "I don't know why you think I'm interested in this," but
they're kind of like, this is just a maths problem that I've given like paper in 20 minutes, and you want to just parrot an answer? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an 8.
8. Stupid maths problems. Again, the problem is, I think the lovely thing for Rion, where you've been given 2 puzzle rooms, and they've both been like maths problems. You're just like, I think you're sort of like.
So you know what? Actually, I would say Rion rolling an 8 is remembering about as well as I genuinely.
Yeah.
So takes a guess and is like, 13.
It's just no, but good guess. So yeah, it's the number of times that it would cross over. So obviously we're starting at midnight. That's 1.
Yeah.
Then it keeps ticking round. So small hands on the 1, and then it would be 5 past. So sort of like gestures around the clock face.
Right, yeah. All right, yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got it wrong.
Yeah, no, yes, no, it's, I mean, well, looks over, somehow there's still puddles of water on the floor. It's like, Pinecone walks over to you and is like, you know, I don't know if that's an answer or you're just making noise. Pinecone's like,
yeah, I don't. Thanks, Pinecone.
Yeah. Pinecone's like, I got complimented. Just, he's very simple but very lovely. No, that's. Do you want another go, or you're just happy that it's not 13?
Is it 12 then?
You're close. It's well, it's sort of like leans. It's like, well, this is the difficulty. If we're talking about how many times do they cross over each other, or how many times they actually like touch, because technically,
I mean that wasn't very clear.
Yeah, no, that's
in the first place.
That's the problem with the riddle. Yeah. I mean, between you, me, and Pinecone, I don't think it's the best riddle. Yeah, but no, I don't write. Tom actually got these from a book of like riddles for children, which is always good if you're running a D&D game. You're like, what? But because also we're living in a magical world where you're like, I don't know, I summon water. You're like, it's applicable. Yeah, so it's either 10 or 11, depending on which. But don't you love it when a riddle's like, I've got multiple answers? I think we've
Well, there's good riddles that whatever the other person says, you can be like, no, because this.
There's again, we're you know what, talking is reaction.
Oh yeah. I'm being like, I got it wrong and I don't really know. Like, what happens now? Or do we do the talking as a free action?
Yeah, let's just do the talking as a free action. There's I was going to go. It's a similar thing where you're like the joke of what is a pirate's favorite letter,
R.
And then you're like, the thing is, you're like, no, it's C, because they love the sea. And then you go to the next person and you're like, what's their favorite letter? And they're like, C. You're like, no, X, because X marks the thing is, there's like 4 different answers that if you're in a room with enough people where you're just like, no, it's letter of mark, which lets them be a pirate. You're just like, because don't you love it when you're a party and like someone's like, I'm going to intentionally tell you a very annoying joke. You're like,
oh yeah.
Just actually, we have a question on here, which I'm not even going to roll the dice. What is, like, if you had to tell a joke, just sort of like out of your back pocket, sort of like, hey, let's hear a joke. What do you have one that you're just like, this tickles me?
I mean, there's I have a series of cheese jokes that I enjoy. Right. Like, what kind of cheese do you use to get a bear out of a tree?
Ooh, I don't know. What do you use?
Camembert. Or what kind of cheese do you use to hide a horse?
I don't know.
Mascarpone. Yeah.
See, I like puns. I know people are like, ugh. I'm like,
puns are great.
Yeah, I think I've got like that child thing. I'm like, funny. Yeah. Also, like appreciation. I go, wordplay. That's a fun. Yeah, but I just love it. Like, they're all cheese related. I'm just be prepared for. And then you just got the person like, I don't really like cheese. You're like, well, that doesn't affect the joke, does it?
You know what cheeses are called, so
yeah.
Cheeses.
Let's roll the dice. Beautiful. So if we have a 10, how would your character deal with karaoke, and what would be their go-to song?
Oh,
very musical, this episode.
So being a changeling, I think. And street urchin type of Neverwinter. Like there's plenty of Neverwinter bars that young Rion has snuck into the back of, nicked booze, nicked food, and probably been like sneaking around backstage, seen a bunch of like musical acts over the years. And so being a changeling would probably just take on the persona of one of said acts. And because of my friend Matt, Rion's song would be Sweet Transvestite.
Beautiful. That again, Neverwinter doesn't know what's hit it. Like, I think a Rocky Horror Picture Show, just like going, hey, with the same sort of like, again, like the live thing where people are just like, right, these are the things you need to shout at the right time. Just like,
everybody knows the time warp dance. Like.
Everybody just. I think that's a fun, that's a good karaoke, and I think again, like as a changeling, where you're like, I could. Well, that's the one thing. Like if you're doing karaoke, where you're like, I'm doing a duet, I can do both. But I can just
foam halfway through.
Beautiful. Actually, I'll tell you what. Let's do one more. Let's see what we got. That is a 20. I rolled the question one where they're like, "Oh, give a presentation." With a 5. What is the one lie that your character tells themselves?
Ooh. Probably that, like, I think Rion actually tells themselves a lot of lies. But the biggest one is probably that I'm like, I really love my life as homeless street urchin kid. I'm not interested in like my family before the orphanage, and yeah, that's it. The lie is I don't want to know about where I come from and my family before.
You're just a tough little. You're like, I can make it on my own. I don't need anyone. Oh,
yeah.
It's good to where you're just like, well, you seriously said.
And some like, I mean, they're still a teenage. They're like late teenager basically. So, that's some later life trauma to unpack.
Just.
I think it'll be a bit of a mess for a few more years, and then they'll start going, "Oh, okay, this is what's
okay." Maybe I'm actually going to have to do some research here. Yeah. That's it. That's a good one. I think that's the nice one where you're like, as soon as you say it, you're like, yeah, makes perfect sense. It's not some sort of deep, dark, like, or like moral thing. You're just like, the thing you tell yourself every morning and going, I'm fine.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting after episode 4, after you've just gone on this really horrible, like, and where you're like, I think I actually connected to that question where you're like, amazing, like, cool, what's your worst fear? What's your nightmare? And you're like, cool, we're going to bury you alive. And you're like, well, I've confronted that. Nothing else could get worse after I've had to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't want to judge the other characters, but you're sort of there going, I got buried. Oh, you're angry that your dad's going to be mad at you. Cool. I got killed.
I actually got buried alive. I actually got underground.
Yeah, it's not all about me, but just saying. Oh, you're scared of moths, are you? Great. just constantly like,
I mean, compared to Josh, like he asked us, what are your character's worst fears? And I was like, oh, okay, this one and that one. And I had to just come up with a third, and I was like, I don't know. Oh, buried alive. Yeah, that's a good one.
I think because that's the whole thing where people say that, phobia, it's because it's illogical. But you're like, okay, it's not a good thing to be buried alive, where you're like, it's just.
I mean, the only part of that fear that's irrational is the likelihood of ending up in that situation. Like once you're there, like genuinely, legitimately terrifying, I think.
Again, it's sort of like where you hear about like sort of the bizarre things that they like Grotowski, the Polish director did, where he would like, it's important that we bury you alive so you can understand, what life is. You're like, Grotowski could just kill me and just be like, I don't know. He's in the woods somewhere. It's not my problem. I'm imagining in like a very weird, like Midsummer Murders style thing. It's like, it's just a theatre director. He's just killing his cars by just like,
I mean, he wanted a really genuine performance, so.
Well, I think it's important that your character's afraid of being buried alive. This is a pantomime, but it's a fear that's constantly there as Prince Charming. So I'm just gonna take you out into the woods. Amazing. As we come back in, we are back in the white void. The Poppet, the Tempest, Rion, and Pinecone again. It's like, you can't go with him. No, just.
Well, of course he wants to come with me because you've not been looking after him properly.
The Dryads were taking care of.
Well, why is he here then? If he's here, you've got to play with him and look after him. Otherwise, it's not good for him. Or just send him back.
Oh. Yeah, you just look at it down like, you happy here? You happy with the Dryads? Tail's just wagging. It's like, all right, I'll make sure that he's better.
I mean, I think you should keep him. I think it'd be good for you. You're a bit squirrely, if you don't mind me saying.
I don't. You're right. As he looks down at the hand puppet, like, that he has already pointed out is his wife. Okay, fine. Me and puts that sort of handle. Me and the thing.
It's a dog. He's a dog.
Huh. Every day remains a school day. Pivots on his. Right, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us here for Talking is a Free Action. If you do enjoy what we are providing, you can find us here every Friday, 6 to 7. I want to say still BST, could be GMT. We love the passage of time. But anyway, 6 to 7 in the UK. Mondays and Tuesdays, 6 to 9 p.m. We stream what the Question Lords would call a documentary. But for us, it's a D&D game. And I believe next Monday, we actually get to see G and Rion. We get to find out what's happening in that terrifying room after after death. We're just like, you wake up, things ain't great. So all our shows are found at twitch.tv/RollTogetherRPG. The VODs are available soon after. You can find us on YouTube right after, and also podcasts, Roll Together RPG on most podcasts. If you don't find us, please do let us know. Once again, big thank you to the D20 Club, Patreon. We can't do this without you. Again, one of your local currency keeps us supported. They made us a wiki. They made us a Discord. Come along to the Discord for the various memes, and where we'll probably be working out which Baldur's Gate free character do we want to hang out with the most. Big fiery barbarian, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, she's the best. Yes, so Rion, next to you, a portal is opening. You can see the room again. Your friends all tied to your sort of misty form slowly starts being pulled back through the portal. Is there anything you'd like to say before you vanish?
What was the point of all this?
That's a very good question. The answer is knowledge and to pass the time. Blast, a gale just knocks you. As the Poppet stands there behind you, him, you can see the gate, and above the gate, the runes, which slowly and finally form themselves into words you can read, which simply say the Question Lord's greatest slogan: always stay classy at the table. And with that, you're back in the nightmare.